Hello everyone and welcome to another video. This is one that I have been super duper excited to film. As many of you know, I went to Greece in January, and when I was in Greece I actually travel journaled. It's something that I made to share with people. If people ever ask me about my experience in Greece, I can just show them this journal. I'm really proud of it. I'm so excited to share it with you guys. So with that, let's just get started. So I actually started this journal before I left. I think about 4 or 5 days before I left. I had been researching and planning for it quite a lot. So I was really anticipating it and I was super excited. So now we're going to be going through the part that I did before I left. So I added some fast facts, the official name, form of government, capital, population, official language, and the money that is used. And then I added a cute little map of Greece, and then I drew a flag in here. Then I wrote in the itinerary for our trip, and I'm going to be going through this fairly quickly. I'm not going to be talking about every little thing that I write because there's quite a bit of writing in here. So if there's anything that you would like to see and like actually read what I wrote, you can definitely pause the video and read that if you would like. But this is just my itinerary. We got there on Monday, January 8th, and I returned home on January 21st. Then, because I took this journal with me everywhere, I wrote a page about Greek words that I plan to use often. This actually came in huge handy when me and the two people that I was traveling with got off the plane. Someone was trying to sell something to us and they were speaking in rapid Greek. And I had studied it a little bit, but then my friend just quickly said, "Ten kataleveno Ellenika," which means I don't understand Greek, and the person went away. So I definitely studied this after that experience because it was kind of scary. And I wanted to be able to communicate with people who were around me. And then throughout the trip, I wrote down some words that I learned while I was there that were really helpful, like "Paristo posi," which is thank you very much, "Karistes," which is shrimp, "Psomi," which is bread, "Stamp," and "Everything will be okay," "Ola tha panikala," which you will see later because that's really important in my journey. Then I wrote a whole bunch about why I'm going to Greece, the expectations and anticipations that I have for going there. So this page is just talking about how the college that I went to has a whole bunch of travel abroad things that you could go on, and some of my friends were going, and I never thought that I would be able to afford it, but this Greece trip was actually pretty affordable. So that's just me talking about it once again. I'm not going to go reading everything, so if you would like to read something, just go ahead, pause the video. We'll still be here. And you can read what I wrote. Quick sidetrack, I was really just going for authenticity here, so if there is grammar issues or spelling issues in here, do not hold that against me because this is really just me sputtering from my brain the most authentic stuff that I have. I talk about my expectations. The extent of my knowledge about Greece comes from the movies The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants and My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Honestly, these pictures make me feel like I'm going to be in a Mary-Kate and Ashley movie. So that's kind of explaining like my expectations and how I didn't really have any expectations, but I was just really excited to go. Anticipations. I talked about how every time I go to a new place, I'm always reminded of how large our world is. It's so easy to live in the little world that surrounds you to forget that there are people everywhere. It doesn't help that nowadays everyone is so desensitized to others' pain. I'm hoping that I won't have to witness others' pain on this trip, but I'm hoping to be reminded of the wonderful world I live on. I'm grateful. So that's just a little bit into how I was feeling. Then I talked a little bit about my flight information, and here's my itinerary. Talking about the places that I was going to go through, I actually ended up changing. I was supposed to go through Chicago, but there was an awful ice storm, and I ended up having to go through San Francisco on the way there. So this is just me talking about like the different places that I'm excited to go to, and hopefully the little bit of culture that I'm going to experience in the airports that I'm there. And then I had the modern Greek alphabet, which was just there because Greek was pretty easy to figure out if you memorize the alphabet. You could kind of pronounce the words, so I made it a thing to memorize as much of this modern Greek alphabet. Lowercase letters are so much easier for me to read than uppercase letters, but I always took this with me because I thought that it would be helpful, and it really was. I did a little countdown of 3, 2, 1, 0 days until I leave. Just like little snippets because I wanted to start this journal, but I just didn't want to really like write too much of it because I wanted the bulk of it to be written while I was in Greece. So it's just me like talking about how I'm excited, and day 0 tomorrow. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe that this is actually going to happen. I will have a wonderful time. I will learn lots of things. This is the first leg of my Odyssey. My word of the year is Odyssey, so I was very excited that this was going to be a part of my Odyssey. Then take off. Goodbye. And then I talked about my travel experience. Here are all of my tickets. And then these are some postcards that I got when I was in the London airport. So I have quite a few here. And then I just wrote a little bit about my experience in the London airport. The receipt that I had. I now understand why Europeans believe that Americans are rude and loud. I'm sitting in the London airport and it is ridiculously silent. People aren't yelling. There are no babies crying. Nothing. It's as if everyone has made an agreement not to be awful around other people. It's weird. It's weird how different things are here than they are in America. I'm being reminded that people are beautifully complex with our similarities and differences. Only one more flight and then we're there. So just little things that I wrote. Here's some more postcards that I got. I kind of went postcard crazy, as you will see. Then my first day in Greece, I usually tried to write about what happened at breakfast. I really wanted to write each day. At the beginning, it was a little slow. This is the postcard that I got when I was at the Parthenon, and I talked a little bit about the Parthenon. We went to the Parthenon today. It was big and old. I often forget how old things can keep. I wonder how many people have touched that marble before us. It's only my first day, but I'm starting to get a feel for Greece. Everything is so close together, which reminds me that I have the luxury of space. I'm somewhat jet lagged, but I'm really trying to make it through. The food that I've had so far is really wonderful. I've seen 8 black people. Most of them are men. That's actually something that I was really, really looking for, because I was told that there's a possibility that I would have lots of problems with my race when I was in Greece. And in my experience, which is going to be different from any other black person who goes to Greece, I had no problems whatsoever with my race. Whatsoever. So I kind of wrote about that because it was something I was looking for. Here's a picture of me sitting around the Parthenon with Athens in the background. Here is some mushroom and potato stew that I got at the Parthenon, and then there's just a picture of the Parthenon. Day 2, we went to Plato's Academy, and we went to a opera house. So here's a picture of the opera house that we went to. That day was really, really cool. One of my friends almost got her phone stolen, and it was really scary. Someone actually grabbed her face and started talking to her and yelling at her, and then the other one tried to slip her phone away from her, and it was really scary, but we got through that. And we bought a lot of clothes. I bought way too many clothes when I was in Greece, but it was worth it. The people in those boutiques really know how to sell it to you, so I wore some of the clothes. And then here is the outside of the opera house that we went to, and then the ticket that we had for the show. This is me just talking about the opera. It was really, really bad. We all went to this opera, and every single person, like 20 people from my school, fell asleep in this place because we're also sleep deprived. So I felt so bad. It was an experience, but it's something that I'm never going to forget. I talked about sleep deprivation. Do we really need that much sleep? Answer, maybe. And then this is day 3. We went to the National Archaeological Museum. So this is just my pamphlet that I got from there that I wanted to put in here. Today has been really low key, which has been really nice because I've been so tired recently. My body doesn't really want to get into a sleep schedule. I'm hoping that will change tonight. I bought some journals, and we went to the most amazing crepe place. Like, oh my gosh, there were like falafel crepes and blackberry cheesecake crepes, and oh my gosh, it was amazing. And this is a picture of a bronze butt, because in the Archaeological Museum, as well as everywhere where there is art in Greece, there are just bronze and marble nude people everywhere. And it was so interesting because you would see kids and like kindergartners going and looking at this art, and it is art. It's not nudity, because in their culture, nudity isn't as like grotesque as it is in America. So it was just so amazing for me to see people like actually just say, it's a naked body, we all have one, cool. And so I took pictures, and I had to put that one in there because it was great. I did a mini reflection. I was talking with Kylea earlier today, and I realized that I really enjoy visiting Greece, but I think that I would absolutely hate living here. It's too compact. I feel like I've been here for 3 weeks already, and it's been 3 days. I'm enjoying it here. I'm still trying to figure out all of my feelings about it. Well, stay tuned because it's gonna change. I got a euro, which was amazing. Day 4. Honestly, I wrote this on day 3, and then day 4 happened, and that's when we went to Poseidon's temple. And you can see the beauty of it in the video that I made, which I will link down my Greece travel vlog, because this was the most beautiful place that we've been. We went to the Temple of Poseidon, which honestly is one of the most beautiful places that I have ever been in my whole entire life. I wrote a little something about it. The sun was shining. On one side of me there was blue water, blue sky, as far as the eye can see. On my other side there are beautiful mountains with pristine white houses that are inhabited by old ladies in headscarves. This is the Greece I was anticipating. This is the Greece I will miss when I am home. The day we went to the Temple of Poseidon was really a pivotal day for me, and it is really when I started falling in love with Greece. I took some more pictures. The pictures don't do the place justice. I really, really recommend you to go watch my video, my vlog, because that captures it beautifully. I put 2 quotes here. I have sea foam in my veins. I understand the language of the waves, and the sea does not like to be restrained, because we were just surrounded by ocean and beauty. And then we went dancing that night, so this is just me talking about the different places that we went. We went to 5 different places that night, and it was really great. I had some of the best time that I've ever had. I really like going dancing. I don't really anymore because like I'm still on my teacher time, but when I was in Greece, I went and it was so great. It was a really fun experience to go out clubbing in Greece with all my friends. Then there's day 5. I went to the marketplace, which is really, really beautiful, and bought way too much stuff. And then we went to the Agora, which was the center of the city back in the old days. And me and my friend Kylea had some really, really wonderful talks while we were up there. And then I talk about, I've had 2 meals today, and both of them were crepes. I went back to that crepe lady because her crepes were like the loves of my life. So I got a cream cheese one and a falafel one, because the falafel one was just amazing, and I still to this day miss them. Then that night we went to a play entitled Women Passion of Greece, and here is the flyer for that. I was a theater minor in college, so this was really exciting for me. This trip was with my philosophy and theater department at my school, so I was like one of the 2 theater people who was there, and this was the part that we were really excited about. This play was unlike anything that I've ever seen. I've seen quite a few plays in my lifetime, and this probably was in the top 5. It was amazing. Then day 6 hits, and we actually started leaving Athens. So in our plans, we were going to be in Athens for about a week, and then we were gonna leave and travel to 2 other places. And this is where the trip just completely turned around for me, and I fell in love. In that reflection that I said earlier, I said, I'm not sure if I like Greece. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it, and I was not sure how I felt about Athens. You can see here I said, we left Athens today. I'm actually really thankful for that. It's not that I didn't like Athens, but I've learned on this trip that I'm not a city girl at all. Or better said, I'm not a big city girl. Athens was definitely a big city. We traveled out and we went to a little mountainside town called Delphi. And oh my gosh, Delphi was the love of my life. It really, you can watch the video that I made, but it was just so beautiful. The mountainside, the little houses, the little cobblestone paths that you could follow and just go to like another wonderful view. It was breathtaking, and we ate the most beautiful pizza when I was there, so I had to take a picture of it. And this is me and my whole group. This is just a picture of the dinner that we had, some picture of the view, which didn't turn out very well, but you can watch the video to see it. And then we had 2 of these big buses, and I took a picture of one of them, and I just wanted to put it in there to remember what they looked like. More pictures of Delphi, our bus. This is the kind of views that you would see, and this was our hotel. Then I added the quote, travel far enough, you meet yourself, from Cloud Atlas, because this is where the trip began for me. Why I believe we've become a community. I traveled with about 20 other people, and I wrote 8 reasons why I believe we've become a community. We all know that when Ian, who was one of our teachers, says that we're doing something, there's a large possibility that he's planning it as he's going. The opera, we all fell asleep in tandem. We share experience and can reflect on them together. Communal running, which, there were too many moments when we had to catch a train or a bus or something, and we all just had to sprint like down an interstate together. And although in the moment we all hated it, it really helped us build community. Struggling through the Greek and being able to laugh about it, it's just really fun to be able to laugh with someone about how we are all just awful at Greek. It was a whole experience. The quote, "You know that's a gay club, right?" On the night we went clubbing, we were asking some of the bouncers on the outside where the club that we wanted to go to was, and it just so happened to be a gay club, because the majority of the people who were traveling were queer, and we just felt more safe in a queer club. And so when we asked him for the name of it, he was like, "You know that's a gay club, right?" And we just could not help laughing about that because it was so hilarious. We're like, we know, and we want to go there. We can be quiet without feeling awkward, which is something that I think is really important. And then every morning, every single place that we went to had like a breakfast, like a continental breakfast that was like better than like 5-star breakfasts. And we would just sit there and like reflect and talk about the stuff that we did. So that's 8 things that we did on this trip that really just made me feel like I was a part of a community. Day 7, and this was the view that I saw in the morning. This hotel that we were at in Delphi was honestly the best place that we were. It was the most beautiful place. Waking up surrounded by beauty is one of the most wonderful feelings in the world. I suppose that one is always surrounded by beauty. However, when beauty becomes familiar, it has the tendency to become normal. I'm currently sitting at breakfast, and there is a window that is beyond beautiful, and I'm having a hard time believing that I'm here. I have the overwhelming urge to be more present when I'm here, and I'm finding it much easier to do so. Usually, when I have this feeling, I would say that I don't want to leave, but I'm not feeling that way presently. I want to come back or go to new places. I want to explore and see what the world has to offer. There is so much out there to be explored. It really would be a shame if I stayed in the United States my whole life. And then I talk more. If you want to read it, you can. But yeah, I really was just feeling a real pull to this place. And here are some of the beautiful postcards that I got when I was in Delphi. And these are some of the places that we visited. It is unreal. And here are some pictures of the ruins that we went to in Delphi. Wherever you go, go with your heart. Some pictures, me and a couple of my friends. Then I talk about how on day 7, we actually left Delphi, so we were only there for a day to go to our 3rd destination. And I'm just talking about like what I did. And when we got there, to travel is to live. And day 8, we actually went to a beach town named Drepano, and we spent a few days in Drepano, and this is another one of my loves. Like, I just really learned that Athens just wasn't for me. And it was amazing. We lived in 4 little tiny houses that looked like they were right off of like a Californian movie. And like I got this beautiful picture to just show how picturesque it was. And there were tangerines growing everywhere in Greece. It was beautiful. Here's a picture of me with a 3,000-year-old bridge. And then some Greek theaters, which are just so beautiful. It was one of the most breathtaking places that we've been. So this is Epidavros, which the theater was at. And then in Epidavros, we came to this beautiful place, which was like a healing place or like some type of hospital for the people who live there. And I wrote, "They came here to be healed," I was told. As I walked through the rooms of healing and sat where they did, I wished for healing. For myself, for those around me, and for the world. It was long ago that these people traveled to be healed, but they believed in it, so I did too. Maybe that is all it takes. So just wrote a little something about how I was there, and it was a really spiritual experience for me. And then on that night, we actually made our own taverna, which in Greece is just like a family-style restaurant, and we would always go to them, and we decided to make a potluck. Here's a picture of us we took all the chairs and tables out of our little apartments, which I don't think that we were supposed to do, but we did it anyway, and we just came out, and everyone made something. I made zucchini fritters, and I never made those before. I was just so inspired to like cook. So I decided that I was gonna make zucchini fritters, and I did. So we all made something or bought something, and it was so great. This little town of Drepano was just like this little beach town, and by the end of the 2nd day, everyone knew who we were, and they were like, "The Americans!" And it was great. And then I have this African proverb: if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So it felt like we were going through this together. And then on day 9, waking up in Drepano. When we first got here, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it. Delphi was by far one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my whole entire life. We arrived in Drepano at nighttime, and when we were really tired, it wasn't Delphi, and I felt underwhelmed. However, I'd been here for a day and a half, and now I know the secret of this little town. In the mornings, right as the sun is rising, the whole sky turns pink, blue, yellow, and purple. When you wake up, the sky is filled with this majestic looking cotton candy sky. That's not something I see very often. This place is so beautiful, not like Delphi, but in its own very special, very awe-inspiring way. I'm in love, and I haven't even seen the ocean yet. So it was just amazing. My little reflection, how I'm just learning so much about myself on this trip and how I just want to travel more. Then we went to Assini, which once again was one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen in my whole entire life. I feel like I was Anne from Anne of Green Gables. The last version of the story I watched was in the Netflix version, and the nature and natural elements in it were awe-inspiring. And I go on, what am I supposed to do when I see this kind of beauty? Cry, scream, stare? It was just so beautiful, and these are actually plants and little pieces of sea glass and shells that I took with me, and I glued them in there. It was awe-inspiring, this experience. Here's a little pamphlet that I got when I was there, and then a whole bunch of pictures, because I just snapped like so many pictures. It was one of the most beautiful places that I've ever seen, and I wanted to document it. It's better documented in my travel vlog, but I still wanted to put it in here because, I don't know, I'm a stickler for little things in journals. Then I actually got to see the beach, and I had a really great night where I got to spend the beach with like some of my roommates, and it was just really great. And two of them were seniors, and we'd known each other for a while, but we hadn't really hung out, and I really just found a great friendship in them. And then I have the words "Ola fa pane kala," everything will be okay, up here. My professor actually wrote that up there for me. I'm just writing more about how our group's model while we were here, everything will be okay, because sometimes we got into situations that were really scary, but we just always said everything is going to be okay. And it not only became a mantra for our group, or a motto for our group. I talk about how I always find myself anxious in situations, having to tell myself that everything will be all right. It fits. Here the world feels much brighter. The fruit tastes so much more fresh. Bliss comes much easier here. It's accessible anywhere, even places where it shows nonstop. I am being reminded of happiness and of the fact that everything will be okay. There are only 3 more days in Greece. I'm going to soak it up. So here I'm just really feeling it. And this was the view outside our window in our little tiny house, and I just could not believe it because it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. Then we went to Mycenae, which was another village, and it was like a mountainous village, and it was so beautiful. I wrote, people lived here. Humans who breathed, cried, sang, and danced were here. Did they think of the future? Were they in awe of the past in the way that we are? When they looked at this beauty, did they too stand in awe? So just questions that I had when I was there. Postcards, I went postcard crazy. Pictures from Mycenae. If you never try, you'll never know. Then we had dinner for our friends. I cooked a whole family dinner, which really was like one of my favorite things that makes me, like, when I get to cook for like a community or my family, it made me so happy. And I cooked like a bean stew and fritters and a whole bunch of stuff from scratch, and it was amazing. And I put this little thing, without a sense of caring, there can be no community. And it just fit. So this is the beautiful dinner table that I made that I was really proud of myself, and I got to feed my little family when I was there. Day 11, I went out and got to see the ocean as the sun was rising. Did the people who lived here thousands of years ago understand the awe-inspiring serenity of this place? Did they understand it in the way we do, or did they understand it much better? More than we would ever be able to. When they had absolutely horrible days, did they go outside, look up, look anywhere, and just breathe, remembering it was a new day? I really just was in awe of everything when I was here, and I miss it so much. That day we also went to a little Italian town, or Italian-inspired town called Nafplio. It was beautiful, and I got some gelato, and I have pictures of me and my friends in these like little streets that were just so fun. You could get lost in them, and we did. It was really fun. And here are some of the postcards that I got when I was in Nafplio, a little piece of Italy and Greece. So it was really beautiful. Everything was beautiful. It's a theme, but it was really, really just the tip of the iceberg. Day 12, we left Drepano to go back to Greece. Oh, Drepano, I must leave you. And this postcard is probably my favorite postcard from the whole thing. This little beach town was so small that there was only one post office, and the guy who worked at the post office kind of was there whenever he wanted to be. So we left dinner one night pretty late and we were heading back, and he was there at like 9 p.m. and we went in there and there was this beautiful postcard, and me and my friend asked him like, hey, where did you get this? And he actually painted it by himself. We were like so excited about it, and we cleaned him out of all of the postcards that he had, and he was just so happy. It was one of the best treasures that I found while I was there. Drepano, you may be a small tangerine farming town, but you will not be forgotten. Drepano really was where I felt home. And if I ever do go back to Greece, like I could just see myself living there, maybe teaching school or something. This was my favorite bakery in Greece, in that little town, Drepano, and I had to keep this because it was amazing. This next page is talking about how I got a tattoo in Greece. So when we were in Drepano, my friend Hannah, which is the one right here, kind of was sitting on her porch, and she was like, hey, would you get a tattoo with everyone if we got our teacher to get a tattoo? And like, I'm not the kind of person to make like a split-second decision, but like this experience was so amazing that I was like, you know what? Yeah, I will get a tattoo with everyone. So unfortunately, our teacher decided against it. Talking about you, Ian. I don't even know if he's gonna watch this video, but he didn't want to get a tattoo, but all of us decided that we did want to get tattoos, so we did. And there are all of us with our tattoos, and actually, like me and Hannah, this one, are like soul sisters because we got the same words. And I did say that Olata Panikala was going to be coming back, which means everything is going to be okay. And it comes back because I actually got Olata Panikala tattooed on my right forearm. So yeah, that's pretty important. I wrote the quote, always go with the choice that scares you the most, because that's the one that is going to help you grow. And then I'm talking here about how there are so many significant things to my tattoo. One, there are two significant meanings to that phrase, Olata Panikala, everything's going to be okay, which was our motto. And then also because I struggle with anxiety, having a mantra of everything will be okay on my body was really wonderful. 2, every time I look at this tattoo, I will be remembering the wonderful experience I had in Greece. 3, I feel wonderfully connected to the people who got the tattoos with me, and it's absolutely wonderful. 4, I have a hard time making decisions by myself. I always worry, but this was my decision. It was mine, and I absolutely love it. So this tattoo really means a lot to me, and we got it at Ritual Tattoo in Athens. So if you ever go to Athens, get a tattoo from Ritual Tattoo, because they got 7 people in to get tattoos last minute, and they were absolutely amazing. So I love my tattoo. Farewell to my beloved Greece. It is that time. It's time for me to travel back home, back to the real world. I found myself say on more than one occasion that I'm sad to leave, but I'm ready. My time in Greece has come to an end for now, but I'm bringing back so much. I am grateful. And here is my boarding pass. And then on the way back, we stopped in Germany. So I have a postcard that I got in Germany, and I talked about how I kind of felt like I was like in The Book Thief, where the setting was so beautiful, because the movie, I remember just being so completely like, oh my gosh, about the scenery. And I felt like I was like flying over like just history, and it felt really wonderful. And then I have a PDX sticker because that is the airport that I go to for home. And I'm just talking about how grateful I am. And I'm talking about how I think I'm going to become a world traveler. I want to find a home place in more than one spot. I want to be able to go on adventures and come back a better person. And then I believe the end of this is just a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't have a place to put in earlier in the journal, so I just kind of put them all here. So here's my map from Greece that helped me get around. I finally got to learn map reading while I was there, because I kind of had to. My metro ticket, my drink voucher at the gay bar that we went to that I didn't drink, another drink voucher that I didn't use because I'm not big on alcohol, and that is it. That's all that I have for my Greece journal. It was a wonderful, wonderful trip, and I really hope that I get the opportunity to go back some other time. Thank you so much for staying and watching the entirety of this video. I've been sitting on my floor for more than an hour and my camera's died a couple times, and it's been a whole trip. So if you have been here since the very beginning, wow, you deserve kudos, because this has been a really long video. But yeah, I think that is it. I hope you all have a wonderful, bliss-filled day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.